What do you think the natural drawdown rate would have been historically? You know, how often did that thing come down to the point where that, that lake bottom could aerate and break down?
Well, it's a tough question. It all depends on the climate and, the amount of rainfall we've been having. And, like I said, the lake loses its water four ways: evaporation, transpiration. Some seeps right into the sandy bottom, and then a fraction, maybe 1%, certainly less than 5% of the water goes down in the sinkhole. And when the residents see this big limestone opening and they see water pouring down in there, it's hard to tell them that all their lake didn't go down in there. But at that point, the ground, it hadn't been raining, I guarantee you. And the aquifer had gotten lower. So that was a place for the water to go. But for the previous several months, the water's been going up into our atmosphere. And so it was like, let's stop the water from going down in there and save the lake and keep it full all the time. So we have I've been watching this lake go through its drought cycles and it's healing. The dam has been, the gates are removed, and then the water is fluctuating the way it used to. We have a dam that's still there, but it's not functioning to keep the lake from going through. But during drought periods, the lake is simply going to go through its drought cycles. So, I've seen it, we were saying Lake Jackson went through about 25 years every time in 84, it went dry, and everyone goes, well, we've got until, 2015 before it's going to go again. Well, in 99, it went down. And that's when everyone said, well, what are we going to do? So we did a massive muck removal program. Started it, the FWC started it, and then the county took over and they did quite a bit of material muck removal. And during this time here, the lake was also dry. So it varies, to answer your question. But like, when Bartram and DeSoto were in the area describing the lakes, the Lake Jackson is Okeechobee, it vanishes. It's often just a prairie. And just only during enough water times, when it rains enough, does the lake fill.
If you ever get all the muck removed, then would you manage it when it dries by burning it, or?
Burning is certainly something that also happened back. During droughts, people farmed the area. It caught on fire. Maybe they didn't set it or not. Cows were out in here, but now that there's been so much muck on the areas where the lakes were full real long, those days are gone.
Yeah.
So putting that much material, there's millions of cubic yards of muck, and how this lake is healing is just by exposing itself to the atmosphere. I say that because the lake was impounded, stabilized for 40 to 50 years, it's going to take at least 40 to 50 years for all that muck to go away, and probably double that. But I'll probably be dead. But. Oh. Lake Miccosukee,
sure retired.
It has a water control structures on the north end, a massive 1,600-foot dam around a really large sinkhole on the north end, and steel sheet pile on the south. And it's changed that savanna from 100 acres to 6,100 acres. And so that's a useful resource if we manage it. And it's good for waterfowl, produces a lot of fish, recreation, but every time we get these people saying why don't you do something about the tussocks? We go, well, we need to do a drawdown. And the answer is, oh, anything but that. We need to, when it gets dry, that's when we need to do open the gates and let it get low. But the public sees it the other way, is that if it starts to get low, that's when you want to close the gates to save the water full. And you can't do a drawdown when it's raining cats and dogs because you can't keep up with it. So that's why it's best if you leave these gates alone, and you can see that the lake during droughts, is going to get low, and when it rains, it's going to fill. It's a simple